Joshua here from Unboxable Kings, and a few weeks ago somebody commented on one of our videos saying that it looked like I'd been taken advantage of, and misfits often get taken advantage of. And I thought to myself, true. I thought, damn right, I've been taken advantage of. Been taken advantage of a pretty good amount, because I'm A, human, B, a man, and therefore malleable, and also the target of certain manipulations and deceptions. Because that is a way to keep a man from his innate power, is by making him believe and do shit that is counterintuitive to that flourishing. It's like having a garden and then just pouring the wrong fertilizer on. The plant ain't never going to grow. And that's what thoughts can be like. That's what ideas can be like. And I've had that happen to me, and the reason that I share it is because my other option is to deny it and claim I'm perfect. I'm not. So I share it because then, if you also find yourself being taken off the righteous path and instead deceived down the wrong path to take the wrong action, maybe you need a way back, just like I needed a way back, and a way to protect yourself from the fucking deception and the bullshit. And in this video I want to talk about one that has been on my mind for a number of years, and the evidence stacks up as to why my intuition eventually came true, and that is the idea and the notion that men should talk more about their problems. This is a huge campaign across the whole world, and good boy over here fell right into the trap, because at like 15, 16, that's my age, so like 15, 16 years ago, half my age, that's when I feel like this started, or that's at least when I became aware of it, like, oh, if you have problems, talk about it. Don't bottle it up. Men should talk more. That's not what it's like to be a man. And I was like, oh, okay, that's not what it's like to be a man. And because, mom and dad got divorced, I didn't have any counter evidence to that. I just thought, well, that's not what it's supposed to be a man, right? I'm supposed to talk about my problems, no problem. So I did that. I did that for many years. I'd be the guy that always had problems, and I was always talking about them, because I thought that was me being brave. I thought that was me being a good man, a courageous man, was to talk about my problems. And that is now what is reflected in the media when people come out and talk about their problems. However, for me at least, and if this resonates with you, it will, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. For me, talking about my problems made me have more problems and become kind of like a basket case. I think that's what it's called, basket case, like a whiny baby, a whiny boy, a boy that couldn't just take the pressure, that couldn't take on problems head on. He just spoke about his problems. And this is something that happened through my entire life up until I was about 28 and a half, 29, when I started to wake up to the idea that, hang on a minute, if all I'm doing is talking about my problems with whoever will listen, I'll become the problem person, and my problems won't get solved. And I was like, this is probably not a good idea, so I stopped doing it. And the person that got the maddest with me was my family, my mum specifically, because what does a mum want? They want a boy who will talk to them about everything, that will share all their load with them, because that's what mums want. So when I stopped doing that, there was a little bit of friction there, but I just stopped doing it, and I stopped sharing my problems with gradually less and less people, and I realised, man, I'm sharing my problems with everybody. I'm talking to everybody about what's on my mind, and I stopped doing it. And then my life started to improve. I started to realise I could take on my own problems. I can tackle my own problems. I can hold counsel with the right men, and I'm still figuring that part out, to actually talk through the challenges rather than problems. And I, along my way, also learned that the biology of a man is very testosterone driven. I knew that, but in this context specifically, when a man goes away and he sits quietly and he spends time with, for me, spend time with God and ask him for help, meditate on the issue, challenges at hand, and think on it by themselves and alone, quiet, it actually causes an increase in testosterone. And an increase in testosterone helps you respond better to stress. It helps you respond better to challenge. It helps you embody more of who you are as a man. It makes you a little bit more aggressive, more competent. That elevates your testosterone. The inverse, talking about your problems, elevates your level of estrogen. So what happens is, you have a problem, you're encouraged by everybody else and society and the media and the footballers and all this bullshit, like, oh, it's so hard for me, men's mental health, all this, and I think there's a case in point for that, but this is how I see it, and fuck, roast me if I'm wrong. So then you have that going on, so you start telling everybody about your problems, and then your estrogen goes up, you become more estrogen dominant. Your testosterone's going down. How's that going to be good for you? How's that going to help you become more of a man and solve and challenge and grow? It's not. And it didn't for me. And it's not until I started to actually focus on raising my T that I stopped doing this nonsense. And I could work through it. And it really helped me grow into who I am and actually become a man. Because I think that's been lost through this Just Talk About It campaign. Just tell everybody about it campaign. If the answer isn't talking about, what is the answer? I've been saying the same shit for a long time on different channels, and I've lost my whatever. I've been saying it a long time. Is that you take away the root cause of the man's mental problems. You take away the driving force of why the man feels depressed or anxious or scared or any of that. Probably his T level is going to be one of them, but you take away the root causes. So I've had the concept in my head for many years and been preaching it, is that if you teach a man how to eat properly and look after his body, physical exercise, you teach him how to make his own money so he don't have to go work for some fucking slave job that he hates, and then you teach him how to own his authentic voice, upset a few people, not try and please everybody. You take away the people pleaser. You basically get rid of his good boy traits and replace them with masculine traits, which are already inherent and within. That guy doesn't need to just talk about all his problems, because he's facing them head on. He's facing them with courage and spirit, and he is talking about the problems when necessary to men, ultimately, that he thinks he can leverage in order to help alleviate the challenge through strategic partnerships, through strategic ventures, joint ventures. There's different methodologies to combat challenge than just sitting around like an estrogenic little baby boy going, oh wow, it's so hard for me, and oh wow this. And I know that because I was that little victim baby boy for too many years, and it cost me money. It nearly cost me my marriage. It cost me my mental health. It cost me my character health, spiritual health. There was so many issues with it, and I'm like, well, if that happened to me, maybe there's another dude out there that, whilst this is a difficult message to receive and probably makes me toxic masculine or some bullshit like that, I think if you're ready to hear it today, you're ready to hear it today. And you can take from this video this new empowered way of thinking that you are strong and capable, that you can take your challenges head on. You don't need to talk about them with everybody. Select a few core people that you trust, men specifically, a coach, a mentor, a guide, an accountability group, and you work on those problems and go quiet. Stop telling them to everybody else. Do you know how much better my wife feels that I just don't fucking unburden a gajillion problems at the end of the day? Oh, my funnel isn't working. Oh, that didn't work. They didn't pay me. She's thinking, oh, what, have I married an estrogenic little baby? A little boy? What she wants is someone to come home. How was your day? It was great. Tell me more about your day. Tell me how I can help support you, because I'm good. I've got my problems in check. My challenges are dialed in, honey. T level. Her estrogen up. Her testosterone down. Harmony. Way better. So, like many of these ploys that I think are being strategically dropped into society and dropped into your mind about how to act and operate, maybe you need to explore them and be like, this ain't the way. I've got to be different if I want different. Says the dude who's been talking on camera for 9 minutes. Think about it.